So my name is Maria Fernanda, and I will be your host today. We are starting our journey with the first online workshop for West Africa English speakers and Eastern Africa. Just a very short introduction, tech introduction here. We are asking everyone to keep your microphone muted and leave your camera open because we want to see each other. To help you to save some bandwidth, you can close everything that you have in your computer. Please close your Messenger, close your WhatsApp, close your emails. Just be with us now here in this online space. We will be recording this meeting because some of colleagues may not join us today, so we want to keep them informed. So we are just recording the main room. In some point of the meeting, we will have small group discussions, but this will not be recorded. Beyond that, as I said, please close everything. Be with us on Zoom. Try to keep your camera on. Your microphone muted, just open. So I'm muting everyone to avoid these interruptions. So now, just one thing, if you drop off, no problem, just click in the link again and you will join us and you will be back, okay? So now I will invite Christine, the BIOPAMA coordinator for Eastern and Southern Africa, to give us the welcome. Please, Christine.
Good morning, everybody. It's great to be here with you this morning. So as Fernanda says, my name is Christine Menzel, and I'm the coordinator for the BIOPAMA program for Eastern and Southern Africa. So many of you, we've interacted before. I'm not so familiar with the colleagues from Western Africa. And this journey that we're starting today in this online session is a joint initiative of the BEST 2.0 and the BIOPAMA program. And BEST 2.0 is part of the B4Life flagship initiative, and it supports field actions for protection of biodiversity in the EU overseas countries and territories. The BEST 2.0 program also provides grant funding for small-scale field actions for biodiversity conservation and sustainable development in the EU overseas countries and territories. BIOPAMA stands for the Biodiversity and Protected Areas Management Program, and this assists African, Caribbean, and Pacific countries to address their priorities for improved management and governance of biodiversity and natural resources. So BIOPAMA provides a variety of tools, services, and funding to conservation actors in these countries, African, Caribbean, and Pacific countries. So the two initiatives are quite complementary, BEST focusing on the overseas countries and territories, and BIOPAMA focusing on the African, Caribbean, and Pacific countries. And both initiatives also provide funding, which is what all of you have obtained and why we are here together. So this first online session here is part of this joint global knowledge sharing journey that we are embarking on with grantees from both BIOPAMA and from BEST. So we're very happy to have you all on board with us and that you've agreed to join us and work together with us to learn and share and develop communication materials about your work in your respective and projects. So the purpose here is to promote this learning and the knowledge sharing opportunities between all of you, between the grantees from both of these programs, and also with the IUCN grant management teams that you have been interacting with in your implementation of your grants. So all of us will be sharing knowledge and learning from the implementation side, but also from the grant management side. And we will be looking to produce communication products that demonstrate the results that have been achieved, as well as then also looking at good practices and lessons that we've learned from grant implementation. So that's generally the purpose of this journey that we are embarking on together. And today is then the first session that we're joining on. So what are we actually going to do today? What's happening in today's session? Essentially, we'll start off with a bit of a check-in, as we would like to know who is in the room with us. Some of us know each other, many of us don't. So we'll start with a bit of a check-in to give all of us a sense of who's in the room and where we are all from. Fernanda's already started a little bit with getting us to add our countries to our names in Zoom so that we can easily see that, but we'll do a little bit more than that just now. And after that check-in, we'll then provide you with some orientation on etiquette and netiquette, so how we engage with each other here. And we invite you to respect that so that we can all be effective while we're together in this online space. We'll then also share a little bit more details about our motivation for this journey, for this initiative, and explain the different steps of this knowledge sharing journey. And then we'll move on to the more fun part, where we will invite you in smaller groups to also share about your grant stories from the field. And then essentially also we'll hear back in the bigger plenary some of your discussions in your smaller groups. And then we will have a session on how we're going to work on the document, work on and document your grantee experience and make the most use of it. So we'll have a bit of a presentation on that. And in the last session, we will provide you with a little bit more information and orient you on a few actions that are needed from you to get yourself prepared for our in-person workshop in Nairobi, which is also coming up really soon. It's the first week of May, so it's only 3 weeks away. And then we will do a checkout and a closing of day 1. So that's what we have in store for you for today. And for the next step, which is the check-in, I'm going to hand back over to Fernanda. Thank you, Fernanda.
Thank you, Christine. So let's do short presentation. We are going to take a few minutes to do our checking and become present with ourselves and each other. So we are interested to know more about you and your expectations for this journey. The check-in is a quick round of presentation. You can add your name and answer the question. Before I share the question with you, there is 2 ways you can share your contribution. One, you can use the chat. The second one is that we created a harvest document, which is basically a Word document, but online, which allows everyone to type their answer in the same time and allow everyone to see what the colleagues have added on. So Alex is going to share in the chat the Google Doc, which is our harvest document. You can add your answer there. So please share your name, where your feet touch the ground on the word, and respond to the question, what is exciting you about the knowledge sharing journey? Why you are excited to be here and to go with us in this journey? We will have around 5 minutes to write your answer, and when you are finished writing, take a moment to read what others have written so you can learn more about the other participants and what makes them excited about this journey. Remember, if you feel comfortable, go to the Google Doc. If you don't, just write on the chat. Share your name, where your feet touch the ground, and what is exciting you about the knowledge sharing journey. Thank you. Colleagues, if you feel comfortable, you can use the Google Doc. If not, you can write here in the chat. Arthur, se quiser, pode escrever aqui no chat, colocar o seu nome, de onde você está chamando e por que você está motivado a se reunir com a gente nessa viagem. For other colleagues that feel comfortable, you can also read the contribution of other colleagues and hear and read what they are excited about. If anyone needs help, you can write a message for me or Alex via chat and we will help you. Or you can raise your hands. Anyone prefers to open the mic and share what you're excited about? If you are not able to write, you can also open the mic and share with us. Thank you, Aruna. Okay. As you see, we are from different parts of the globe. Just remember that we are a small group here today. We have some colleagues from Europe, from Eastern Africa and West Africa. But during the journey, we will be with other colleagues from Caribbean, Pacific, Polar, South Atlantic. And today we are just a small group to accommodate the best time zones for you for the online. But during our in-presence workshop, we will be a big group coming out from different parts of the world. So just let's read a bit. People are excited about hearing inspiring experience from the field, to learn how other parts of the world are doing their work and share lessons and learn from each other. They want to learn from your experience to avoid mistakes and find new solutions for their problems. They are interested and excited to share knowledge and maybe do some teamwork and collaboration, networking. They are interested to join and learn about the success, how you are tackling the common challenges in conservation work. What are the success and challenges that you manage in your grantees projects? And learn how other organizations are effectively lobbying with governments to improve protected areas management. Learn from other regions. Thank you very much. Let's give more 1 or 2 minutes for the colleagues to finish. Thank you, everyone. So now I will share with you some tips for our etiquette and our netiquette. So how should we behave here in the groups? And I think we can bring some of these ideas also for Nairobi, because we are not in a webinar, colleagues. This is not a PowerPoint presentation where you're just hearing us and we are showing slides. That boring thing, forget it. We will be here to hear from you, and you are the most important people here in the room. You are the ones who are in the field doing the hard job. So we want to give you time for sharing your stories, but let's just agree in some principles for sharing and learning from each other, okay? So I just have a small drawing here. So the first thing is that we are inviting you to be in 2 workshops online and 1 workshop in Nairobi for 5 days. We are really inviting you to leave your job, your daily, let's say, responsibilities in your organizations, even in your family. So we are asking you to slow down so you have time to think and reflect. How many of us are really doing like this to-do list and do things, and we never stop to just think and reflect about what we are doing? This is very common, and we know how rich could be this experience to go a bit far from your daily work and stop to think and reflect about the way you're doing your business, the way you're doing your work, and hopefully taking some insight from your own work and experience and from others to improve what you are doing. So basically, this journey aims us to bring this opportunity to reflect on our experience, learn from others, and improve what we are doing in the near future. So first recommendation, slow down. Disconnect from everything and be here present with us. Secondly, let's try to listen to our colleagues to understand. There is no judgment, there is no right or wrong. We are here to listen, to understand. Let me try to understand what is really about. We want to share everything, maybe our whole life. However, we don't have enough time for it. So let's focus on what matters. Think about your own experience and focus on what really matters. Every time that you are in a group or in a session, contribute with your thinking, your own thinking, and try to link and connect ideas. You heard some stories from your colleagues and try to connect with your own story. Try to link and connect ideas. How this happened in my situation? Did I work in the same way? Did I face the same challenge? Did I work somehow differently? And don't forget, when you're contributing with your thinking, speak with your mind and your heart. This is professional environment, yes, but we are humankind. So use all your heart and mind to talk what really matters for you, for your community, for your project. And try to listen together for patterns, insights, and try to do deeper connections with the message, with the story, with the colleagues, so we can better connect everything that has been said and maybe go deeper on the reflection. And don't forget, we really want you to have fun. So don't forget to have fun and enjoy this time together. Okay. So now we are passing to the next session where I'm just going to give you a very short introduction about our journey. This is not the only way. During the in-presence, we are going to discuss this deeper, but just let's have a common understanding about our journey. So as we said, this is organized by BEST and BIOPAMA programs. So we have two types of grants. We have ACP countries, Africa, Caribbean, Pacific countries from BIOPAMA, but we also have European territories overseas from BEST, and we will have participants from the global. So let's see who is coming with us. We will be around 55, 56 grantees, and we will also have 20 professionals from IUCN from the different regions. And in this time, what is different is that IUCN is not coming just to coordinate the event, but they are also coming as participants. Why? One thing is that you as a grantee is coming to document and share your story at your level, at your project level. But IUCN colleagues are going to do the same exercise using the same methodologies, the same templates to analyze and document the grant mechanism. So BIOPAMA at the global level to improve new grants mechanisms in the future. Is the same for BEST group. The team from BEST is going to document and analyze their own experience to improve the next BEST grant mechanism. So who is coming? This participant profile is make reference just for the participants. This is the reason why we ask all that questions in the registration. So we are in between 51% of people from 31 to 45 years old and 28% of 46, 60 years old. So it's quite balanced. In the gender, we have 42% of female participants and 57% of male participants. But don't worry, even if the difference is not so big in participants, the staff from IUCN is most female participants. So we will probably have a very good balance on gender. And as I mentioned, we have people from all over the world. We are from, for example, in this call, we have some participants from West Africa that in total they are 10. Some are French speakers, some are English speakers. We also have in total 11 participants from Eastern Africa who are here with us. We have 8 from Caribbean, 5 from Central Africa, 9 from Southern Africa, and so on. So we are quite balanced also in the regions. And as we explained, we have 2 programs, BEST and BIOPAMA, but not everyone in BIOPAMA received the same type of grant. As you may know, BIOPAMA has 4 different types of grants. So we have medium grants, with a large amount of resources for a long period, but we also have the rapid grants that were allowed for communities to face the COVID pandemic. We also have the small technical grants and the small technical grants for assessment. So we have representatives from these 4 grants from BIOPAMA and also all representatives from BEST. When we asked about your role and responsibility, we identified that the big majority of you has a role as a project coordinator or project manager, project leader, or project director. So you use different names, but you generally has the oversee responsibility about the implementation of the project, but not only. Even if you're the majority, we still have people that are coming from the monitoring and evaluation responsibility, communication, focal point, and also some colleagues that are coming to be the financial management role and responsibility. And this is very important because during the workshop, we are going to discuss your grant experience, but we have moments to share technical aspects. So we do have opportunities to share how you are working in improving governance of management of protected areas, how you are monitoring biodiversity, how you are protecting species, how you are recovering maybe marine ecosystems or mangroves and so on. So we do have exchanges in the technical aspect, but we will have also opportunity to share on the project management, financial management, and communication visibility. And the last point here is that we just ask you about your presence in social media, because part of our efforts will be to give visibility to your work and to the achievements that you had so far. So we just identify what could be the most useful channels for promote all the work you have been done and all the documents that you're going to prepare during the journey. Okay, so now just have a short look on the journey and where we are. I put some steps on the journey because this is part of our process. So basically, we plan the journey agreeing on what we want to achieve, which is this learning, sharing, and celebrating your experience. We develop a work plan. You may know that these 56 grants that are coming to the journey with us are not the full amount of grants that we have in BIOPAMA and BEST. So we have to agree in some criteria to select the grants first and then invite some of them to join us. And these are criteria, for example, of the level of achievement or how far you are, if you are almost closing, so you have more to share and so on. We do have, for example, grants that were signed in January this year, so they will come probably in a next journey. So now we are in between packing our luggage. We hope you are now getting contact from your regional colleagues who are arranging for you flights and letters for visa application for the ones who need, confirmation of transport and so on. And we are here today in the workshop day 1. What is the big objective is to start knowing each other, start doing some networking and a better understand of this journey. So we hope we can support you to understand what's coming in next. We will have a second workshop in not next week, the following week, around 15 days. And then we go to Nairobi for 5 days, where you're going to document your experience, learning together, celebrate some achievements. We have field visit, we have a cocktail, a photo competition, and many other activities. So you will receive more information this on the way. But we hope during the workshop in person, you will be able to document your stories and analyze them and prepare some communication products for it to make use of these lessons. So you are back home in your place, and we hope you are going to share your lessons and good practices with your colleagues, either from your project, your organization, if you consider necessary and important, and you can share also with your communities. We hope you can adopt some of the lessons and good practices that you learn from. Maybe you can scaling up your project and share and promote all these lessons in the near future, in new projects or in your organization. So what we are going to bring back home when we finish all the journey. So we aim beyond all the experience and the learning and the sharing, we are preparing some knowledge products. So Panorama Solution is one of the products that everyone is going through. So Marie will share with us in the next session a bit more information about that, which is basically the methodology and approach we are inviting you to use to document your experience. As I mentioned, BIOPAMA and BEST staff from IUCN are going to produce a grant fact sheet with the key factors, key lessons, and good practice about the grant mechanism. So not about your project, but the grant mechanism itself. For specifically the small technical grants for assessment, if you are here, we are aiming to have some infographics about the tools that you have used. So we are not promoting the result of your assessment itself, but we are promoting the benefits of using these tools to improve your job and your work. You can also write stories from the field where you are sharing how we change people's life or how we change a place situation. And beside that, there is some products that are collective products. So podcast is one. We are going to invite some of you to be interviewed for a podcast. We are going to produce a photo album through the photo competition. So you're invited to select your best photos and apply for the competition. And we are also going to record some video testimonials in Nairobi. So one day during the 5 days, you are going to be invited to bring your testimonial during lunch or evening breaks and share a bit of your perspective. So I hope we have at least a big overview of what's going to happen soon. I will stop here. I know I mentioned that today the most important is you, but we just want to give you some frame to follow us on the road. Now that I just shared with you our knowledge sharing journey, we are starting the funnest part of the session, where you will be invited to have a conversation with other 2 colleagues and share a bit of your project grant story. Okay, how does it work? First, we will create small groups, so breakout rooms. There is an announcement that appears in your screen. So close everything and just be on Zoom, otherwise you lose the invitation. So it's an automatic invitation saying the host has invited you to join the group 1. The host has invited you to group 3. So you just accept and you automatically move to the small group. When you arrive there, you have some other colleagues with you, and then you can share your name, your grant, type of grant, where are you? And then everyone will have, after this short presentation, everyone will have around 5 minutes to share your story, but not everything. We have a question for you. I'm going to put the question on the chat. I'm going to repeat the question here, and we are going to share the question as well, broadcasting it. Remember that because you're in a group, we are not recording that, but I think it's useful for you, for your own documentation, that you take notes. Of course, when I'm telling my story, it's very hard to tell my story and take a note. So be host of your colleagues. So if we are a group of 3, I'm telling my story, and then Mahi can type for me. And then when Mahi tell her story, maybe Alex then type for her. So we can rotate the roles in the group. And you can write directly in the Google Doc. So every group has a space in the Google Doc. You write your names and the contributions for the colleagues, okay? So we have 20 minutes. Everyone, after a quick round of a presentation, has around 5 minutes. Make sure you moderate yourselves and facilitate so you can help the colleague and say, please wrap up. You have 1 minute left from your 5 minutes, so everyone has the same amount of time to talk and share their story. So let's concentrate on the question now. Take a break, do a deep breath, and remember, focus on what matters. Tell us a grant project story when you work with others, colleagues, or communities on a challenge, and you are very proud of what you have accomplished. Tell us what happened. What made the success and the results possible? So you all are working in a project, you are facing many challenges. Choose one of the challenges that you are proud that you have accomplished something. Tell us what happened, and most important, what made this success possible? What are the elements that make this possible for you? Okay? Any questions about the working groups? No? Okay. So, Alex, I think we are ready to go.
Great. So I will drop by each room and leave you the links again, the ones you see on the chat now. On page 6 of the Google Doc, I already filled in your names for each group. So just look for your name, and that's a section where you will need to put in the info. So if everybody's ready, countdown 3, 2, 1, here we go.
Have fun.
There we go. Well
Okay.
done.
So let's do our harvest popcorn. You can raise your hand or use the reactions below. Open your mic and share with us what stayed with you. What took your attention? What are the key messages you can take from the stories you heard? Marie say, I noticed that we share common challenges while working with communities. For example, communication. Thank you, Marie. Who wants to share a bit more? Geoffrey, Godfrey, Nicholas, Janine, Dr. Medard, Alfred, Aruna, Uli. Who wants? Yes, Janine, please.
So I can say that in our group, so some of us had the same challenges, like it was always time issues with the time management, delay due to the COVID crisis. So that was kind of similar.
Thank you. Who else? Aruna, you have your mic open. You want to share?
Yes. Yes, and in our group, even though the similarities are far too rich and the stories are somehow different, we really do not hinge on time because of COVID-19 and what's a view. But I think it's a unique situation from our side, especially so here in Sierra Leone, Kenya, to be precise.
Okay.
You get me?
Yeah, more or less. Maybe you can write on the chat for our colleagues to hear better because of the connection. And then I will call Uli.
Okay.
Uli?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah, so we were in a group with Namyaki from Tanzania, and what's always surprising to me is we're talking about wildlife conservation, conservation of marine or terrestrial resources. And it seems that the success of the project always depends on the people. So a lot is about managing people, involving people, and we've learned a lot from her project about engaging many different groups, communities where wildlife is basically crossing borders. And that's very similar to our case as well, where we are protecting biological resources, but it's really about managing people and livelihoods.
Thank you, Uli. Nicholas?
Thank you. I realized, by the way, the 5 minutes didn't work very well for us, but it's good because number one, I realized that we have very many connections apart from us coming from different countries. Like in case of Catherine from Cabo Verde, their grant was dictated by an impact evaluation called IMED that they conducted to read, so that it guided them on to identify the gaps. And that's what we did as well. We used the social assessment of protected areas to identify those gaps in communities that we need to intervene with. And when you come to another colleague that we are with in the same group called Aruna, Aruna, their setup is more like our setup in Kenya. So despite them having despite Aruna coming from countries miles away, we are still facing the same challenges. That is encroachment of protected areas, charcoal burning, and such issues. And we are looking at using mitigation measures that have direct benefits to communities so that they can start slowly stop these illegal, though we are very far from each other. Thank you.
Thank you, Nicholas. Vicent?
Thank you so much. I was also with Alfred in our group, and then, from listening from him, some of the challenges that they faced, we also faced during the project implementation, especially that the project, happened during COVID-19, and then the country was put in measures to try and contain it, including, restricting the number of people that could converge, under one roof. So that meant that we had to, to reach a relatively smaller group than we would have, wished for. Yeah, so I think that is what I drew from that. And of course, some of their projects included, infrastructure, purchasing staff and ours. So that's a parallel. And ours was specifically, just assessment of governance and management, equity within those two conservancies.
Yes.
Yes. Thank you.
Okay. Someone from West Africa would like to share your perspective, what stay with you, key message that you took from there, or your groups?
Yes, I'm from West Africa, like
Go
My colleague
ahead.
from Kenya, as I said, we are in the same group. Yes, there has been this challenge, especially so for conservation. The idea is very new to them, and it's very hard for them to accept it. Thanks to BIOPAMA IUCN project through conservation where I'm working. Yes, the challenges are there, but at least the people have now started getting their awareness, and I think the stakeholders have fully geared up to participate in the work. And it has not all been easy for us throughout. Maybe some point in time of in our intervention, we are barricaded. Rules were barricaded, and we are attacked. I was attacked personally. The rules were barricaded. The denial was entry into those areas was what we tried very hard through the paramount chiefs, and they are the custodians of the land. So at least they have accepted us. In our group, I shared the experience, but at least the people have now started working. And I think some of their challenge is the forest where we have the Cambois Forest Reserve. It was the least forest. It was an agreement that the government took from the people with the idea that the forest needs to be reserved. And the government used to pay royalties to those people. But after the war, after the 11-year civil war in our country, Sierra Leone, that has changed drastically. And people started violating what was agreed for in terms of the conservation. And then people now started encroaching. Some are engaged in land sales because they say this is where they have their means of getting something to help themselves. So the government, together with Conservation Society, Conservation Society, we rely mostly on donors to help, because we are here to advocate for biodiversity and conservation throughout the country, and we have been in existence for about like 37 years or so. So because of our project, I think we have the upper hand now to move forward fully to engage stakeholders. But I tell you, the stakeholders themselves have understand, and they are going to participate. What shows the participation in this time around when it comes to our pillar in installation, and we have already built in structures how we work with communities, and these communities are the ones in that structures. They appointed themselves to be their representatives also. I think it has not been so easy, but I think we are on the right track, and we are pushing it very hard. And there are corporations, the chiefs, the landlord families, I think they are ready to participate. I think that's just something I shared with my colleagues in the room.
Thank you very much.
So for West Africa generally, West Africa generally, this idea of conservation is not so as prominent compared to the East Africa and some other parts of Africa country. So it is something we are trying to get people to know, to see, use, and to see that we also compete with the East Africans where we know conservation have been doing very well. So I think we are on the right track, thanks to BIOPAMA and IUCN for this kind of support. And the story is now changing positively so far.
Thank you, Aruna. Thank you very much. Someone would like to share a bit more what took your attention, what you learned as a key enabling factors? Maybe Salim, Namiaki, Tanya, someone else, Catherine?
This is Namiaki. From what I've learned, I would like to share with others is the participation or engagement. For what I learned is for conservation to be possible, engagement with the community is one of the most important factors. You could see the reference from the guy from Zanzibar and the other one from Kenya, whereby they engage the community and how far it has gone and how far they have achieved by engaging the community. So engagement, community engagement is one of the important factors for conservation to be possible. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Godfrey, you want to share?
Yeah, unfortunately, I don't see the first raising hand. Anyway, what I learned from in my group, it was there is a technical issue in discussing, but two of us were able to write something. So what I learned from my friend from Windy and the Magan Hinga, I learned that there was no platform of involving key stakeholders to discuss the complexity between these two protected areas. But through this grant, they managed to bring together over 10 key groups to discuss government complexity facing these two protected areas. So, and they form an annual forum where these issues will be always discussed. That is a key achievement, and bring community together to discuss such kind of issues. Once they've been discussed, it is an easy to agree the way forward and move on. That's a good thing for governance. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I think we can do a break now, health break. If you want to take a water or go to the toilet, we have 3-4 minutes break. I will put a countdown on the screen. So if you pass, you just see how many minutes we have, and then come back because we have another section about the panorama solution. See you in a bit.
Yeah. Yeah, but this one also I should.
I'm not sure. Welcome back. Welcome, everyone. How are you? Did you straight a little bit? Okay. So now we have a session about Panorama solution. I will invite Marie from Panorama, which is in our team, to conduct us. Please, Marie, over to you.
Thank you, Maria Fernanda. Welcome back, everybody. I hope you still have some mind space left to listen to us for a little longer. This is the only moment, actually, in this session where we have a PowerPoint presentation. So let me just share the screen. Can you see this all right?
Yes.
Perfect. So I'll be introducing some aspects of the Panorama initiative, Panorama Solutions for a Healthy Planet. You will be hearing quite a lot about this initiative throughout the course of this capitalization journey. So the full name is Panorama Solutions for a Healthy Planet, and it is a knowledge and learning initiative of IUCN and a number of other partners. The learning and knowledge exchange approach of Panorama is really central to the design of this capitalization journey and is fully integrated into the journey. So, for example, we will use the Panorama case study template to document positive experiences from your projects. And we will have these so-called solution case studies available by the end of the process, hopefully, finalized from all the projects as an outcome that we can publish and share further. So throughout this journey, you will gradually learn more about Panorama, the approach, and also the case study format. We won't go into all the detail today, but today I am just going to focus on the idea of solutions. What do we mean by that? What is a solution in the sense of Panorama, and what is a good solution? So a solution is a specific aspect of your work, your project, let's say, or work process that was done to solve a particular issue, problem, or challenge. It's typically not the entire project with all its activities, but only successful elements of it. I put the titles of 2 published solution case studies here on the slide. And as we have some colleagues from Chumbe Island in the meeting, I quickly added their published case study from Panorama as the second example. So this is just to give you a first flavor of what could be the framing of such a Panorama solution. There are 3 very simple and broad criteria for what constitutes a solution. The first one is around thematic relevance. So these cases respond to challenges in nature conservation and sustainable development. That's sort of the broad thematic framing for Panorama. But they also consider human well-being, and they contribute to maintaining or improving the health of biodiversity, ecosystems, and the services that these ecosystems provide. And we're really looking for integrated solutions that focus both on nature conservation as well as sustainable development challenges. The second criterion is around impact. So the solutions provide a successful approach to problem solving, and they have an impact ultimately in terms of global goals such as the Sustainable Development Goals or the global biodiversity targets. So they're concrete examples from the ground of how these global goals and targets can be achieved. And they promote ecological, economic, and social benefits. So we often get the question, and that's why I'm preempting it before anybody asks, we often get the question how we actually verify the impact of the solutions, whether those are real solutions, so to say. And the answer to this question is that we don't verify it for a number of reasons. One very important reason is that solutions are not like research results. So it's not something that can be objectively verified in any way. It's always in the eye of the beholder. I might think that my project was really successful and could be considered a solution because it had all these positive outcomes, let's say, in terms of biodiversity impacts. But someone else might have a very different view and argue that maybe the project has created new social issues, so it really shouldn't be called a solution. There's no way to independently verify that. It's a matter of opinion. Another reason why we don't do this verification of the impact is simply for capacity constraints, money, time. We have over 1,200 solutions now in Panorama, so it would be impossible to actually go and visit and verify all these cases. And then it's also a conceptual matter. The aim of Panorama is to provide a platform for peer-to-peer knowledge exchange, and it is not up to us to judge what type of knowledge, which examples another practitioner might find relevant, might find useful, and might consider a solution. It's up to the users themselves to decide. If there is a sort of hard data available that demonstrates the impact of the solution, for example, from biodiversity assessments or monitoring data, then it is good to add that in the case study description. And the third criterion is that elements of the solution, what we call building blocks, have the potential to be adapted and replicated and maybe scaled up. So they have the potential to be applied in other geographic, social, or sectorial contexts. So then what is not a solution? Well, if it takes a really long time to explain the essence of the case study that you have in mind, then it's probably more than one single case study. It might be better to break it down into multiple ones or adjust the focus to be a bit more specific. It comes back to what Maria Fernanda has been telling us earlier about focusing on what matters. Also things like publications, reports, research, certifications, networks, products, or people are not solutions in the sense of Panorama, but they could be a component or a contributing factor or raw material in the case of a publication, for example, that can feed into the case study description. A Panorama connects what we call the solution providers and potential replicators for mutual learning. I mentioned it's a neutral platform, so it's open for anyone to share their experiences. And the solution providers, especially if they're from a sort of a grassroots background, benefit from promotion and visibility recognition for their work that we can provide through Panorama's external communications channels and the channels of all these partners that implement the initiative, IUCN and the other Panorama partners. But the solution providers also benefit from support in distilling the lessons from their work and documenting that in a very structured manner. So it's a guided self-learning and reflection process. And through this capitalization journey that we are embarking on with all of you, we're going to do this in a very in-depth way, much more in-depth than we typically do in Panorama. The solution seekers, on the other hand, can use Panorama to find inspiration to design new projects and initiatives based on what has worked before. So it's the idea of avoiding to reinvent the wheel, to understand trends. They can also inform research, for example, and decision-making with examples from the field. The bottom of the slide gives you a glimpse of some of the logos and faces of this wide network of solution providers and seekers, and also a few quotes. And the key message is that anyone can be a solution provider. There's no project, no organization that is too small or too specific in inverted commas. But it's really about sharing the knowledge in an accessible way. And as you've seen on the previous slide, the criteria for what can qualify as a solution are very, very broad and really more sort of thinking guidance as opposed to hard criteria. So that then brings us to the question of what makes a good solution case study. I said that anybody can principally contribute, but that said, there is a quality assurance process. So every case study goes through a review process, which is done by subject matter experts before it is being published. And we apply the same quality standards to all solution case studies in this review process. I'm going to give you a very quick overview of these quality criteria. This is not something you need to understand in a lot of detail right now, but just to for you to have a first impression of what you need to bear in mind when you start writing up your case study, which we will do in Nairobi, and what the reviewers would check for. Now, in the process of our capitalization journey, we actually have an integrated process of documenting the solutions and at the same time doing the quality assurance. So there will not be an additional layer of review. And this means that we will support you very closely until the end of the process and help you to make sure that your solution will meet all these criteria and that it will be a really excellent and well-written knowledge product by the end of this process. So let's have a quick look at these criteria. It includes very obvious things like have all the mandatory sections been completed, is all the information listed in the correct sections, have all the relevant tags been correctly assigned so that the solution appears when somebody uses the filters on the web platform. Is the language clear and understandable? Have we avoided redundancies between the various sections? Also things like are abbreviations properly explained and specific technical terms. And then very importantly, we look at the description of the actual process and the so-called building blocks, the key components of the process. So is this logical? Is it well described? Does it feel like the description of the process is complete, or does there seem to be some key element missing that is not mentioned? Things like that. Then there's also a section in the template called the story, which is meant to provide a more personal, more subjective perspective on the solution. And this is to complement the more technical description in the other sections of the template. So if this story section has been completed, then it should be meaningful and should be inspiring and should add value. Similarly with photos, videos, and additional resources, which can also be provided as part of the case study. Again, this should add value and should be relevant and provide further information in addition to what's described in the case study itself, which is very succinct. And then the final point is that it's important to make sure that all relevant institutions and individuals who had a key role in implementing the project, that's the basis of the respective solution, have been acknowledged. So we just had a session before this one where we did some storytelling, some very open sharing in groups. And now a question is, how do we move from such a general storytelling type of approach to identifying and documenting solutions in the sense that I just described? Well, 2 points that I would like to highlight is that firstly, it's important to find a balance between being specific and being general. We need to be specific enough to provide meaning to others who are not familiar with the context of your work. And at the same time, staying general enough so that the case study has relevance to potentially at least to someone else. And another practitioner can find inspiration in that. Also, there's a mental shift that we need to make in terms of thinking about projects with their outputs, activities, and indicators, to thinking about solutions, so successful aspects and key success factors, key enabling factors. One point that I would like to highlight at this moment is that we talk about solutions here in this setting around Panorama and the product that we're going to document is called a solution case study. But we're not saying that talking about the aspects that didn't work is not important. Learning from failure is equally important. And we really also need to understand how maybe an approach was adapted because it was not initially successful. So we really want to hear about that as well as part of the conversations that we will be having in the capitalization journey. And there is also space to reflect on that in the Panorama template. And with that, I would like to leave you with a little task for the way. So until the next time we meet in about 2 weeks from now, I'd like to ask you to think of the possible delineation, we might call it, of your solution story. So have some first thoughts around how you would frame a potential solution based on the grant, and come with that prepared in your mind to the next session. You might want to discuss it with colleagues from your team who were likewise involved in implementing the project, but you don't need to write anything down yet. We will do that later. Just be ready to share a few thoughts and your first ideas around what could be the frame of a solution case study. You can, of course, look at some examples also on the Panorama platform, particularly the section that is called Summary in one of those solutions to get some inspiration. Don't worry, there is, of course, scope to adjust the framing of the case study later to shift the focus perhaps and refine it, and we'll go into a lot more detail in the upcoming sessions in the next online workshop, and then of course in Nairobi as well. And with that, let me hand back over to Maria Fernanda. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Marie. We may have 1 or 2 questions on the chat. When we are talking about success story, is it necessary for the current grant? So I took the opportunity to send to him that in this journey context, yes, we are looking for documentation of your experience in the grant BIOPAMA or BEST project. But as Marie said, we are not just looking for the success story, but we are looking to understand what make possible to reach your results, and we will be able to identify your experience, analyze then what worked, what did not work well, what we have adapted, and maybe take some lessons that can nourish other experiences. Do we have any other comment?
Yeah, if I can just add to that, Maria Fernanda.
Yes.
So in the process of the capitalization journey, we want to focus on documenting Panorama solutions from the grant, indeed. But of course, you're very welcome to submit further solution case studies on Panorama afterwards. You'll be very familiar with the format and the process, and also hopefully the benefits for your organization in terms of contributing to Panorama. So you're welcome to submit as many solutions as you like from your work, focusing on maybe other projects you have implemented. There's no limit to that. And I see there's another question also from Uli from Chumbi Island, which indeed we have already as a Panorama solution. I think this is something we can have a closer look at an individual level, whether it would make sense to just update and expand the existing case study or create a new one, depending on how different it would be in terms of what we'd focus on from the BIOPAMA grant.
Thank you, Marie. Any other comments or questions, colleagues? No? So let me invite Christine to give us some updates on the logistic aspect, so we can do a good travel to reach Nairobi in the beginning of May. Christine, over to you. She had some internet connections issues. Tanya, would you be able to help on this session for us? Christine or Tanya? No? I don't know. So I think Christina said she will try to join on her phone. She has issues with the internet. Okay. Maybe I will start and she can join us. So,
Hello?
yes, Tanya, please go ahead.
Thank you very much, Maria. Thank you, everybody. So, as we mentioned in the several documents that we've shared, the in-person workshop will take place in, I'm sorry, in Nairobi, Kenya, and the hotel that was chosen is Windsor Hotel.
Oh, Tanya, you muted yourself. Come back, please.
Hello?
Yes, you are back now.
Yes, sorry. Yes, so, sorry. So the hotel is Windsor Hotel, and it will be, we are sharing now the documents, the link to the hotel on the chat, so that anybody who would like to have more information about this hotel, they can do so. So the BIOPAMA Invest teams are working hard to finalize with the different flights for everybody, so that you can know exactly your itinerary. And also, we are about to share the invitation letters that will help you for your visas. They should be shared by the end of this week, so that you will be able to connect to the link that was shared in the logistic notes, so that you will be able to apply for your visas and conduct any other admin requirements, so that you can be ready to take the journey. And in terms of materials, what we would like to have you bring is your laptop, so that you will be able to carry on the work of capitalization of experience. But please also bring any documentation, photos, videos, or log frames, reports, or any documentation you may have on the project that will help us harvest your story and inform it as much as possible. So please also contact your other colleagues in your home country, so that they can complement the documents you already have. So we are sure that we have a complete set of information while we are together in Kenya in a couple of weeks. Finally, we will also have a photo contest. So we are kindly asking you to identify 3 of the best photos that your project, from your project, and we'll have a virtual show of these, and it will be, we'll have a closing with a cocktail on Friday, May 5th. So please check out with your colleagues, so that you share the best photos that you could find that more represent your protected area and project. And last but not least, we will also have a video testimony. So you were invited to share a testimony on the most significant change that happened in your project. So the shooting will be done in Nairobi, but we're inviting you since today to start thinking about what you would like to share with us. And of course, double check with your colleagues, so perhaps they can bring different perspectives to the story you will share with us once we are in Nairobi. And we will be happy to answer any questions you may have related to logistics here in the call before we close, but also through your focal points from BIOPAMA and BEST. So please don't hesitate to reach out to us, so that we can make this as a most beautiful journey as possible. So thank you very much. Maria Fernanda, over to you.
Thank you, Tanya. Let's see if the colleagues have any question about the logistics so far, or any comment. Someone, if you can also send on the chat, we can answer to everyone. Any comments? Questions? Clarifications? No? Fine? Okay, so we are moving now for our checkout. And again, likewise, the check-in, we are asking you to share your contribution on the chat or in the Google Doc. So please, we want to know, and we are curious to hear from you how you are leaving our first meeting today. So take 1 minute to reflect and share your name and answer the question. What's the thing that caught your attention the most in today's meeting? And your name, and what's the thing that caught your attention the most in today's meeting? Please share your thoughts in the chat or in the Google Doc. So if the colleagues have any issue, in the left side, you have checkout. You just choose checkout and write down. And if you see some colleagues writing, you just scroll and go down and add your contribution over there. We are looking forward to reading you. If you prefer, you can send on the Google in the chat, in the meeting chat. Thank you, Aruna. Someone else can send in the chat, no problem. Salim, I have seen your message. Do you have the contact from Evelyn? If you have, so maybe you can contact her or Christine to help you on your flight's confirmation.
Yeah, I have it. I will check with them.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay. So let's see, Christine, are you around? Tanya?
I am. I've joined on my phone. I'm really sorry. We never have internet issues, and today of all days. So thank you, Tanya, for jumping in. And Salim, just to say, Eve will be in touch in the next day or two. I think we have your ticket now, so don't despair. We will be getting hold of you.
Okay, thank you. Thank you so much.
So I think everyone can read also other colleagues' impression of today's session. And I will invite Christine to do our wrap-up closing very soon. Let's just give 2 minutes for finishing the checkout. More 2 minutes, please. If you finish reading, have written, you can also check what others feel about today. Just to remember, we are going to share this Google Doc again, together with the recording. Okay, so before we leave, Christine, please, over to you.
Thanks, Fernanda. Yeah, thanks everybody. Thank you so much for joining us today. and for sharing all your stories. It's really been an interesting afternoon already. And I'm certainly very excited about continuing on this journey with all of you and hearing much more about how things are working in your sites, in your countries, what's working for you, what's not working for you. If you have any other questions about the logistics or anything like that for the journey going forward, please feel free to email us at any point. You know who your regional contacts are, so ideally just get hold of them with any questions. And then we will see you in 2 weeks. On the 26th is the second online session. Let me just make sure. Yes, 26th. You should have all received a meeting request for that session as well. So we look forward to seeing you there as well. And then obviously we will all meet in person in Nairobi in 3 weeks. So I think from my side, maybe if we can all put our cameras on now for the last brief moment, and then we can wave goodbye to each other. That would be great. Nice to see you all. And we look forward to seeing you again in 2 weeks' time. Bye. Thank you very much for making the time to join us today.
Bye.
Bye.
Everyone.
You can unmute
Bye.
yourself and say bye in your own language.
Auf Wiedersehen.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye, everybody.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.